What if your natal chart provided the secret key to becoming unstuck in life? That's right, you internet stranger, you heard me right. It is time to enter our hot girl era, to level up, to become the person we want to be, to rewrite the script to become the main character. Or, yeah, actually scratch that one. Your chart does not say whether you're the main character or not. Silly you. You thought that was only reserved for Leo or Aquarius placements, didn't you? That's kind of silly, you know? No. The birth chart is the blueprint that shows you how to become the main character. But first, let me share a bit of background that will frame the cheat code that I'm about to share with you. And this is going to change your life. It's a long video, just stay tuned, stay with me, watch it over 3 sessions if you have to, but I'm about to change your life. I saw a podcast shared by the American Psychological Association that stated the best thing I can do right now if I don't want to be stuck is to act. Doesn't really matter what that action looks like, but I need to act because then, by definition, I'm not stuck. It sent me down a rabbit hole to psychologically understand what makes us stuck in the first place. And it made me wonder how astrology could be used to break that cycle. So as the nerdy, obsessive student of astrology that I am, I'm here to break it down for you. But first, let's start off by breaking down what can make you feel stuck in life, whether it's achieving your goal, loving yourself, feeling productive, or even developing a will and joy to live the life that you have to the fullest, which trust me, we've all had those struggles, especially in society today, you know, it's a little tough being us. And then I will break down how your natal chart can help set you on the path forward. So factors to look at could be that there may be energy imbalance. Maybe there's problems with mental or emotional regulation, or mental barriers or lack of confidence and direction, or external factors and pressures. And when you look at all 5 points and related to astrology, every bullet point listed can tie to a set of placements or planetary alignments that you have in your natal chart. And these placements could serve as the starting point to becoming unstuck. And note, this is a soft guide. Obviously, this can go a lot deeper, and a lot more placements can serve as factors for a lot of things I'm about to discuss. This is just what I personally want to use as a starting point, so don't at me, don't drag me. This is a good start, and it's a lot. So if you have to start with step 1, start with step 1, and then we can go into the rest of the steps. Take it 1 step at a time if you have to. But similar to an IKEA instructional, you must understand what the instructions are actually telling you, or you may develop frustration. Trust me, I get it. At the end of the day, it's important to remember that you can paint your dresser or your desk or your bed frame to look however you want, aka free will is key. And now, with the points that I typed and I showed you earlier, I want to go over them in a particular order that was supported by the psychological research that I gathered together, because it's easy to be taught that inner work must take place before taking action. But what I found though is that you want to start with action, start with effort, break your routines, try anything that you can get yourself to do, even if you don't think that that will get you anywhere. And as you do that, this is what I've learned in my experience, you will learn more about yourself, what motivates you, what moves you, the things to improve, your psychological processes, your thought patterns, the limitations you cannot control. And that's when true metamorphosis, wow, that's a big word. Are you proud of me? That's when the metamorphosis can happen within, because no matter what limitations you have, there is always power within yourself to become the person you want to be. And so now, let's go over the blueprint. Let's go over the map. You can start with step 1 or chapter 1 if you have to, and then you can try it out, experiment with it, process it, and then you can go to the further chapters. Or if you are a student like me and you don't get headaches by watching educational videos and you want to watch the full thing full way through, do so. Write everything down and then come back and reflect how all these experiences play out. So let's get started and let's get unstuck. Energy balance and misguided discipline. This will be covered with Mars and Saturn because Mars tells you how to properly spend and channel your energy. As humans, we are taught to be workhorses, but the reality is a lot of us are trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't work, you know? Whereas Saturn, which is the higher octave of Mars, simply tells us how to extend our energy. It shows us how we can exercise persistence, determination, and sustain our efforts into long-term results. In other words, if Mars is the gas that fuels us, then Saturn is the engine which keeps the car running. But it's hard to know how to properly fuel the tank in a society that operates under very specific rules. And so here is a cheat code. This is based on the sign of your Mars, the house of your Mars, the sign of your Saturn, and the house of your Saturn. So I'm gonna put up a little cheat code for every placement here. So screenshot this, make a note of your placement, and then you'll learn what your fuel is, how your engine operates, and that can serve as the best start. We're gonna keep these guides up for a little bit so that you can screenshot and figure out your placements. Yeah. Hi, sorry, yes, this is after I filmed the video before y'all at me for posting screenshots of how I view every placement instead of talking through them. Look at my lips. My lips are literally so dry. You guys are eating well. Doesn't matter if I say it or read it, so just live with it, okay? I would take these elements as step one and do anything with it, even if it's cleaning your house or showing up a little earlier to work or going for a walk in the park, or even if it's like going to do your hair. Exert your energy in any direction, because as that quote that I talked about earlier with the American Psychological Association, act first, because then by definition you're not stuck. And I promise you that'll get the gears turning so that the following chapters can begin to fall into place. So now it's time to move on to chapter 2. Chapter 2, problems with emotional regulation and embracing your passions. This will touch on your moon placement, your Venus placement, and your 4th house or IC placement. And in order to jumpstart your ability to emotionally regulate, which will come after chapter 1, let's understand your moon, your Venus, and the 4th house's role in this process. We all know the moon is how we experience emotion, right? But what if we also describe the moon as the key to understanding what and how we need to receive? Because if anything, it's our moon's ability to feel full and safe or fulfilled and otherwise content that will determine our state of happiness or contentment, or at least help us to not be discouraged all the time, you know? But our moon also acts as a barometer that we can listen to in order to tell us where we are lacking. So instead of judging or pushing our emotions back, let's listen to it. Let's listen to where it's trying to direct us, you know? And I know the struggle can be to understand what it's trying to tell us. So yes, you guessed it, I'm gonna provide a little cheat sheet for how all moon signs experience emotion, as well as what they need to feel full, no matter what the source is. So I'm gonna leave that up for a second. But as we all know, the house our moon falls in is also important. So here's a guide. Ooh, sorry, I have heartburn. Woohoo! I'm not gonna refilm this, whatever. Here is a guide for how all moon houses experience emotion, as well as tips for filling your own cup in this area of life, because we can never guarantee that external factors will fill it for us. But what we can guarantee is that we can always fill our own cup. And that means that we're not letting external factors determine our happiness. Nope, we're taking the keys and we're driving in the seat of control ourselves. I don't know why I phrased it like that. In terms of our Venus placement, this is how we give out love. It is what we value, either aesthetically, romantically, or stylistically. So take what resonates with that. And so ensuring that we have an outlet to give our love and passion to, whether it's through other people or hobbies or other pursuits, can also be a key to emotional regulation. And here is how you can give love based on the sign of your Venus, as well as the outlets to give love based on the house of your Venus. I'm going to leave them both up for a bit. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. If you haven't taken a screenshot right now, then you're slow. I'm sorry. Then finally, the 4th house and IC is what makes you feel safe and secure. If your 10th house is how you go out into the external world, then your 4th house is where you go to rest, recover, or to recharge. So ensuring that your innermost security is full could be a key that could help us to emotionally regulate. Hopefully that makes sense, because when we don't feel safe, when we don't feel secure, when we don't feel rested, we're always on edge, and then we can't regulate our emotions. I think that makes sense. Here is how you can better regulate and recharge based on the sign of your IC placement or your 4th house. In addition, look for the planet ruling the sign of your IC, which I have in the description down below, and then see what sign and house is this placement that is ruling the IC. Where is it? What house and sign is it in? Because this can provide additional flavor into how you can set up your innermost environment, or your home, or your external environment, or your innermost self to feel safe and secure, which can help with emotional regulation. So we're gonna leave both of those up for a few seconds. Yeah, there's so many birds outside today. That concludes chapter 2. Let's move on to chapter, what comes after 2? 3, yay! This is not Sesame Street. I don't know if a 6-year-old could understand this video, but you know what? Some kids are brilliant, so I don't know. Chapter 3 touches on mental barriers, which is outlined by your Mercury placement, planets aspecting Mercury, and your 12th house. These are all things that matter. If you want the truth about what Mercury is, it's the structure of your inner dialogue. It's how you structure your thoughts, your words. It's how you intellectualize the world. And as we all know, the mind affects literally everything. It affects our perception, either of ourselves or the world. And having an understanding as to how this all works could serve as the key to help us understand the hurdles that give us mental barriers. Maybe we don't feel in control of our thoughts. And once we understand the mental barriers we face, as well as how to work around them, we can become one step closer to fully becoming unstuck. Although you became unstuck in chapter 1, this is just how to hone in on that, you know? And so here is a guide for how all Mercury signs regulate and organize their thoughts. It gives insight to the structure and understanding that will help you become more in tune with your mind. You better screenshot. You better do it. And if you don't want to screenshot, you can just type it or mentally remember it. You know what? I'm not going to force you to do something. Your Mercury deserves to breathe, you know? And here's a guide that can further give you insight into how our Mercury helps us to regulate our thoughts, as well as provide us with tips and tricks to how we can direct our mind's compass to the direction we can choose based on the house of our Mercury. We're gonna leave that up for a few seconds. Read about your house. When it comes to planets aspecting Mercury, that will vary depending on the individual. It will give further insight into the direction our minds wander. There's so many combinations, I'm not going to list them all, but know that trines and sextiles kind of give you a gift or easy flowing energy towards how you direct your thoughts. Oppositions will require a balance, and then squares may mean that there's a tension or a pressure with your thoughts in that area of your life. But just apply that to whatever planet is relevant to you And finally, the 12th house is what I want to touch on. This one might seem a little weird, might seem a little cuckoo, but hear me out. It can represent the subconscious, aka what is buried and maybe out of our view, which is emotional, but it can also be mental too. And by understanding our subconscious on a mental level at the very least, we can account for the missing links of our innermost thoughts, which can in turn teach us how to direct those thoughts better. And so some tips for healing your subconscious based on each sign of your 12th house can be seen here. And now look for the ruler of the sign of your 12th house. See what sign and house the planet ruling your 12th house is in. Again, planetary rulers in the description. The following guide can serve as a starting point based on how you can heal your subconscious that is based on the sign and house of the location of the planet ruling your 12th. First, based on sign. Now by house. Now you have like a basic understanding on how your mental processes work, and this can help you to sort of be aware. Don't try to control your thoughts into acting more like whatever templates I sent you. Observe how your thoughts fit into this template, because then you can understand what triggers you, what makes you anxious, what does your mind do when it gets anxious, and that can help bring you more awareness that can help you become more unstuck. Now it's time for the next chapter. I think it's chapter 4. Don't quote me on that. I forgot how many chapters I made. Whoops. Chapter 4 covers on a lack of confidence or direction, which I'm going to outline based on your first house, your Jupiter, and then your north and south nodes. Maybe you've put in the self-work. You want to become more active, but now you have that longing for further direction and a sense of identity. This is where the first house, the north and south nodes, and Jupiter can be understood. And so now let's start with the first house, okay? We're going to take it one step at a time. Understanding your first house is the key to establishing confidence. Sorry. I've been burping a lot today. Sorry, I had a donut, bad choice. It lets you know who you are at a very basic level. I have moon in my first house, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Whoops. And other chapters that I talked about before, chapters 1 through 3, can provide insight that can help you develop a better sense of self-worth, like in conjunction with the knowledge of who you are. So let's take this chapter to hype y'all up a little bit. This is where I'm going to give you some gas. No more heavy stuff, no more self-work, just some basic hype girl energy. Here are the skills of every rising sign, in my personal opinion. This is an opinion. This is what I think every rising sign is good at. So this is you. This is you, by the way. This is you. You better remember that, okay? And now look for the planet ruling your ascendant. What sign and house is this planet in? Because I'm about to hype y'all up even more. I know you love it, or maybe you don't. I don't know. I hope you love it. So here's a guide that provides further hype based on the sign and house of the planet ruling your first house. So we're going to bring this up for a second. Boom. Now you know yourself better. Let's move on to Jupiter. With Jupiter, I'm going to do the same. That's right. It's another hype party, y'all. Woo! Time to hype up y'all and y'all's energy based on the sign and house of your Jupiter. Because Jupiter shows how you grow and learn and expand. And it's when you grow and expand that you feel more direction and purpose. So here is my favorite thing about every Jupiter sign and house placement. Time to celebrate. Come on. I'm not done with the gas though, because it is time to go over the north node and the south node. The north node is what you can lean into in this life to find your direction. And it's when you go towards your north node that you feel like you are moving forward in life. You don't feel like you're stagnant or you're falling behind. You will feel like you're moving forward no matter what. Like you are actually accomplishing something, no matter how big or small. And your south node highlights your like natural gifts. You don't have to lean into the South Node. You don't gotta rely on it and work super hard for it. It is just energy you naturally embody. And so we're gonna do it again. Here's a guide based on the sign and house of your North Node and your South Node based on sign and house. The North Node guide shows you what you can go towards to feel fulfillment, while the South Node shows you the skills you can lean into in order to support you in this new direction. A good example, my North Node's in Virgo. It's conjunct Mercury. It's in the 2nd house. I made this video with a freaking outline, you know? But my South Node is in my 8th house in Pisces. And I've naturally been a little woo-woo kid, you know? I think that's kind of what that placement means. And so I get to be woo-woo and organized. Yay! And so take what resonates with you and go towards it, because now we're moving on to chapter 5. Chapter 5 touches on external factors and pressures, which we will outline using generational planets, which are Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, but we're also going to touch on the 10th house. The generational planets, in summary, tells us how society or the state of the world, you know, the things that are outside of our control, like how does that shape us? Generational planets aren't necessarily us. That's why some astrologers don't like to use them, but they can show us where our tiny little dot fits in the puzzle that is society. Uranus, in my opinion, shows us where we are meant to be different, where we are meant to innovate and bring new way of doing things based on the state of society going on around us. Neptune shows us where we are meant to dream or to create with a sense of wanderlust energy based on the state of society. Even if you aren't a creator, where do you dream? Where do you have like those big thoughts? Everybody's a dreamer, even if you suppress your dreams. Like there is something you want that you wouldn't be watching this video otherwise. Maybe Neptune can show you what that is, in addition with other planets. Whereas Pluto shows us where we are meant to transform and change based on the state of the world and society outside of our control. I got Pluto in my 4th house, y'all. You can't control your Pluto, but you can transform it. That's all I'm gonna say. Generational planets move slow, so I could go through all these placements by sign, but let's be real, there's like Pluto and Aries, like y'all aren't even alive right now, no offense. But for simplicity, I will go by the house of each planet so that you can better understand what role you can fill within the world and society that can help you turn pressure into diamonds, find inspiration, or to figure out where your external pressures are coming from. Maybe you don't know where the pressures are coming from, or maybe you do, and this is just confirmation so that you can figure out how to take that energy that feels like it's controlling you, and then you can use it to control the world. Ignore the awkward silence. Here's your guides. Yeah. And now the 10th house, because the 10th house is the impact we make on the world. Some say it represents our career, but it's more than that. It's so much more than that. That is a basic outline of what the 10th house is. If our IC is our private life, for example, then our MC is how we affect the public. It's the impact we make. There's plenty of content out there about the MC, trust me, but here's a brief summary of how every MC sign can affect your impact on society or how you're meant to impact society. And then we're gonna do it again based on the sign and house of the ruler of your MC. So find what planet rules your MC, figure out what sign and house that planet is in, and then screenshot this guide to figure out how that affects your ability to impact society. Woo, or like what direction you work in, you know? And a lot of people like to say, oh, if you have an MC in like a certain field, you're meant to do like this specific career, this specific career. If we treat astrology like it's deterministic, like we have to do this thing, that's not the way to go, right? So like my MC, for example, it's in Taurus. I'm a Leo rising Taurus MC. And the ruler of Taurus is Venus, right? My Venus is in my 4th house in Scorpio. Everybody says, you gotta be a real estate agent. You gotta be an interior designer, you know? But it's more than that. It's about working from a place of like safety and passion and being able to like dig deep and to use my roots to my advantage. And so take whatever your placement is and run with it, you know? Experiment with what that means to you, because you are the writer of your reality. Okay, that's it. You can go now. Actually, don't go. Please like and subscribe before you go, please. I'm not that popular yet, and I would like to know if I did a good job so that I can continue to help y'all. Please? I'm kidding. I don't need the validation. But if this does help in any way, refer back to it over time. And let me know what other topics you want me to go over, because I'm not just here to tell you, oh, this planet means this planet means this. I'm here to tell you how to work your energy based on your planets, because I don't think astrology is like a puppet that is controlling us. I think it is the blueprint that tells us what direction we go in to succeed. And so hopefully this helps. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're watching at this point, like, hello. Like, that is so crazy to me. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.